Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are live. It is Tuesday. It is power session time. Excited to be here. Thank you for joining us on this replay or joining us live here shortly. Very excited today. We are going to be talking about conversations and outcomes. And if you're in business and any kind of business that involves human beings at any level of that business, this is something that can really drive your success, drive your outcomes, and the outcomes that create incomes and can allow you to grow your business, grow your impact, and better serve the world. That's what we're really doing here. Those of us that are entrepreneurs, those of us that are executives and leaders and building and growing businesses, it's to add value to the world, I would hope. If it's not, you may be in the wrong place, okay, to be listening to what we have to share in terms of how you connect with people, how you connect with your mind, what's going on in terms of how your brain works. There are a lot of unique things in the world, and Habit Finder is no exception. There is no one, just simply put, clearly, confidently, there is no one measuring and talking about the things that Habit Finder talks about in the way that we talk about them. We've looked far and wide. We spent years looking for assessments that can measure what really matters the most. Not that there aren't assessments out there that measure things that don't matter. There's lots of great assessments out there. They measure a lot of things that matter. But what matters the most are the patterns of your brain, how you're actually thinking. That's dictating and influencing everything in your life. Everything comes down to how the space between your ears is interpreting, reacting, responding, and processing what you think is the reality. And we know, after having studied it for as long as we have with over hundreds of thousands of people, that your reality is not the reality. So when we dive into sales, we dive into leadership, we dive into growing your business tactically, structurally, everything, it's going to be based on how you actually think. And today we're going to dive into conversations and connections. And we're going to talk about some things that are really holding a lot of people back from being able to grow their businesses from a level of connection, to be able to grow their businesses more naturally without having to close, without having to, obnoxiously persuade or overpower people. Because you can do that. It's many businesses, many salespeople have proven that you can do that. But if you try to overpower people and you are successful at it, it's because you're dealing with in that particular regard, weak people. And no one wants to build a business with weak people, because it either requires you to shut your heart down and churn through people as if they were just numbers and statistics, which we're not all about, or it's going to create way too much of a burden for any human being in any system to be able to sustain. So we'd rather than get better at how to turn the right people, how to turn people into the right people, let's get better at recognizing the right people. So that when we're not talking to the right people, we're not talking to people that are ready for us, that we can suspend judgment. We can suspend so much of that frustration, that futility, and that energy so we can get to the right people. And today we're going to be talking about how to have conversations, connections that can lead to doing that more effortlessly. Not because it's suddenly going to lead you to a gold mine of people, but when you are spending less negative energy on the people that are not ready for you, then it's going to feel like you've hit gold mines of the right people because of how frequently it will feel like they're showing up. But because it's because you're not wasting as much energy on the others, not wasting so much energy on their potential, not wasting so much energy on wanting it more than they do and whatever else. So what do you say we dive in and get this thing started? Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to the Habit Finder Power Session. It is Tuesday again already, and we are going to be diving right into the place where we dive in with every client that we work with, whether it's Global 100 companies, Fortune 500s, home-based businesses, entrepreneurs, sole proprietors. We're always going to start in one place, and that is connection, with people. That's where it all begins. That's the foundation to what we do, the keystone that allows everything else to make sense. If you're having challenges in your relationship, it's got to start with how you connect, how you communicate. If you're having challenges in growing your business, it's going to start with how you connect, how you communicate. All of it comes down to connection. Now, what's interesting is that you are the one connecting with others. And when we learn connection properly, we will simultaneously learn how to better connect with others and with ourselves. We'll simultaneously learn how to focus on them and better focus on ourselves. We'll learn how to really listen to someone else and simultaneously learn how to really listen to ourselves. It's a skill that a lot of people aren't as good at as they think they are. Because a lot of people aren't as good at thinking about stuff as they think they are, because so many people are not comfortable with having a conversation in their head with more than one voice. So many people aren't super comfortable with being able to have a fair disagreement with themselves, and then it makes it very difficult for them to have a disagreement fairly with someone else. So we want to start with connection. But let's talk about today in connection in terms of agendas, in terms of outcomes. Because there is a major challenge we're watching roll out in so many different companies, in recruiting, in sales, in leadership and growth, that we get very tied to a specific outcome, a very specific outcome. And so everything about the way we connect is considered in reference to this particular outcome, in reference to this particular agenda. And it creates a major distortion, a major limitation in the power of connection. Because connection at the level that we want to start the foundation, this is not the only element to connection. This is the foundation. And it's often missed, just like the foundations for houses are missed. You don't walk around and drive around the neighborhood going, oh, look at all these foundations. No, you can only see the house that's built on top of that foundation. And there are a lot of people going around looking for ways to connect and looking for the aesthetics, okay, looking for the strategies. Those are the walls. Those are the front doors. Those are the designs, the stucco, the brick. Those are all important elements, but none of them can supersede the foundation. You could have the most amazing house architecturally, aesthetically in the world, but if it's not on a good foundation, it is worthless. Okay? It is a real estate professional's nightmare to find an incredible property and then find out that the foundation is in jeopardy. The foundation has challenges. Oh, what a nightmare for a home buyer, a home seller, or a real estate professional helping with either of those things. Ask any of them about the importance of the foundation and how to look for challenges in it. And yet, when we go to build our business, we forget some of these things. And so what we want to do is we're not trying to build a foundation and strategic aesthetic walls at the same time. We want to make sure the foundation is in place. For example, how many of us have gone on to social media hoping that that platform would somehow compensate for our lack of desire and therefore our lack of ability to be social? On what planet did we believe we could go onto social media and not be naturally social, not have built the skill set, the stamina, and the connection to just be social? It's the number one challenge in people using social media in their businesses, is they're going on there thinking that the media can compensate for the social. And that is totally backwards. Totally backwards. People are trying to post in ways that they can shortcut connection. They're trying to post to please massive amounts of people, to get massive amounts of likes and engagement, and they are denying the power of a singular connection with a human being looking for what they could actually provide. So therefore, I recommend hitting a reset, getting back to the foundational principles of connection. That doesn't mean that you stop promoting, that you stop talking to people about your business. It doesn't mean you stop those things, but you're definitely going to want to step back and take accounting of the ratio of how much media you're putting out there versus how much social you are engaging in, because the social is what makes the media work. For example, we're building a social media course as we speak. Okay, we're working with this incredible human being and a team, in fact, that just knows the ins and outs like I've never seen. And I've spent a lot of money, gone to a lot of seminars, a lot of workshops on how to leverage social media to grow your business. And it's been a hot topic for several years now. And one of the biggest things we see people, the mistake they make is they think they need to post every day. You don't have to post every day. You've got to interact every day. But it's hard to interact every day if you're not naturally social. You much rather put a post out there and let it do the connection for you, and just have to like and interact, hoping to get them to your form or to your website, to get them sold, to get them enrolled, to get them recruited, which is like building a beautiful house on top of sand. Okay, as soon as your world gets shaken a little bit, as soon as chaos gets introduced, it doesn't matter how beautiful the house is. It doesn't matter how amazing your brand or your product or whatever is. It ends up crumbling and falling if it's not built on a solid foundation of connection. So one of the things I want to focus on today to improve your opportunity for connection is to create multiple outcomes. Get clear about the possible outcomes of a connection, of a conversation. Because if it's singular, then it's going to create a very narrow entry point for connection. If my primary reason for connecting with people is to recruit them for my business, I'm creating a very singular, very tight funnel, very tight tunnel to try and get people into. I am not creating a foundation. And as the old cliche goes, if you want more graduates, you need more freshmen. But it can't just be from a tactical, that's what I have to do, because that will sabotage your ability to connect with another human being. You want to build a natural comfort with talking to people with multiple outcomes. One of the outcomes could just be that you made them smile. You made them giggle, even if it was just an emoji to let you know that you did that. One of the outcomes could just be that they knew someone cared about them. Okay, that someone was willing to ask how their day was going or to wish them happy birthday or whatever it was. But too many of us are out there connecting with an agenda, connecting with a singular outcome. How do I say hi to this person and have a conversation that will lead me to being able to recruit them into my business, or getting them to buy my product, or getting them to enroll in this, or getting them to introduce me to so-and-so? That's not connection, not at its core foundational level. I'm not saying those things are bad. I'm just saying that those things will fail you. Those things will frustrate you endlessly if they're not done on a foundation of natural connection, of being connected to humanity for humanity's sake, not for your network marketing business's sake, not for your sales numbers and quotas sake. Those things are super important, but they will die on the vine if you're not learning how to build a foundation of connecting with humanity for humanity's sake. That doesn't mean you need to talk to everybody. Okay, I teach connection, and I've had plenty of airplane rides where I didn't open my mouth to the person next to me. I didn't feel like it. Does that make me a bad person? Does that mean I'm a hypocrite? Well, maybe. We're all hypocrites, okay? We all have challenges. But I'm not saying you have to be this magnanimous, extroverted person to be a connector. But what I am saying is, however often, however many times you connect, you're going to want to go into that connection to connect, not to drive them to a particular outcome. And if you're really honest with yourself, those of you that have been frustrated, burned out, felt icky about this, it may be because you need a greater palette. You need a bigger buffet of possible outcomes. And I would highly recommend that today you write down some of those. Okay, if you have been operating in business as an entrepreneur, in a home-based business, a sole proprietor, real estate professional, insurance professional, an executive, whatever it is, and the primary impetus, the primary catalyst for you to talk to another person is agenda-driven, then I highly recommend that you set up some times every day to just connect with people for the sake of connecting with people and not needing it to turn into anything in terms of some sales outcome or recruiting outcome. It doesn't mean that needs to be your entire day, but that should be a discipline. That should be a stamina that you're looking to grow. I don't spend all day in the gym to work on my mobility and my strength and my body composition. Okay. I don't spend all day eating what I need to eat. I have very particular planned moments of where I create the nutrition that I want to have. I have a very specific workout that I go through every morning, but it's an hour to build a foundation for everything else that I want to do. I just got back from Lake Powell, which is one of the most celestial places on earth. Okay. For someone who loves water, loves the outdoors, loves adrenaline, loves peaceful, quiet places and all the contradictions that are in all those things that I love together. And like Lake Powell was heaven on earth. It was incredible. We can't wait to go back. I can't believe it's been so long since I have been back. But being there it was so fun because we were climbing rocks, we were jumping off cliffs, we were surfing behind the boat, we were hiking, we were swimming forever down these canyons and caverns and paddleboarding and you name it. Very active. And I kept stopping and going, wow, I'm so grateful for that hour a day that I put into my body and how it moves and its flexibility and its strength and its mobility. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been nearly as fun as it was. I wouldn't have been able to do half the stuff that I did, climb to the places that I climbed, the fun that I had with my kids, the opportunity to do some crazy stuff that got my heart pumping and my adrenaline pumping. It was awesome, but it was just from that hour a day. It was from the foundational work. What are you doing foundationally for your connection? What are you doing an hour a day, 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day to be able to secure that foundation, to connect with people just purely for the sake of connection, to interact with them, to be able to have conversations that die because most are supposed to. Before Facebook came along, before MySpace, before Twitter, before any of this stuff, we had conversations that sounded a little like this. Oh, hey, you like the Packers too? I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. And I'd see someone wearing a Packer hat or whatever. You love the Packers too? Awesome. Go Pack Go. That's so cool. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from wherever. And where are you from? Oh, I'm from wherever. Oh, that's so weird that you're a Packer fan because I've never lived in Wisconsin or anything like that. Yeah, totally. Anyway, take care. That's it. That was the conversation. Sometimes the conversation is, hey, I really like your hat. Thank you. End of conversation. Oh my gosh. Now that we have this unlimited access to an unlimited amount of people on these platforms, we've somehow convinced ourselves that every person we talk to is supposed to lead to some particular outcome. That's ridiculous. And we feel like we're failing if we didn't connect with them and ask just the right question and say just the right thing to get them to buy from us. Oh man, I talked to so-and-so, but I couldn't get them to my share call. I couldn't get them to my opportunity webinar. I couldn't get them to consider, I couldn't find the pain that would get them to sign up for this. Well, yeah, most of your conversations won't. Okay. And then even more of them won't right now. But we should stop having those? Man, what a frustrating way to suck the air out of the room. To assume that when you were out and about before social media and all this other stuff, that anytime you talk to someone, can you imagine if we acted that way? Like in the 90s? If everyone we talked to, it was with this agenda that we needed to try and get them over to our house to demonstrate our business and what we did. We all knew those people and we knew to avoid them. Okay. But then there's the people who just make friends. Okay. Then there's the people that just love to learn something about someone else that they didn't know. Okay. I love that. Mike just gave a great question you can ask. What's the best thing that's happened so far this week? One of my favorites is you look like someone who's got a story to tell, and I'd love to hear it. You know, you can just find ways to just strike up conversations. That's why when we teach connection, the first thing we teach is to notice. What? Just start noticing stuff and saying things. And if it's as simple as, I love your hair. It's so awesome. Oh, thank you. And that's it. That was a conversation. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. Be like, yeah, I just had a great conversation with that person. Because something you'll find when you actually start connecting with people is that it's what you don't say that creates this bond. It's what doesn't get said that allows you to come back to that person again. and come back to that person again. Because we have tremendous accessibility on social media, tremendous accessibility to people with our cell phones. Okay. Remember when a phone number used to be a location and now almost every phone number is a person? That's amazing. So it's not just social media in terms of getting access to people, but that has not sped up connection. That is not, we can't speed up relationships. We have access to creating many more than we ever could before. The number of people that can stay in touch with those they went to college with, high school with, friends they grew up with, because of the technology that we have now is awesome. It's amazing. The ability to be able to communicate with someone and not have to say anything out loud that can allow speed and trust and different things like that, and challenges and problems to be solved via text message and other things. It's so cool. But somewhere along the way, we started losing the foundation of connection, which should allow you to have multiple outcomes for the people you're talking to. That should allow us to remember that conversations can start and end quickly, and that's totally okay. That we are connectors, not can openers. You're not there to get leverage to pierce the top of their brain and then grind it open with these persistent, obnoxious questions. No, we're just there to notice and say something, and notice and say something. One of the greatest to ever do it in recruiting and sales, Dan McCormick, who runs our Greatest Salesman podcast, incredible human being, said, I just make friends and some of them buy from me. And guess what? That philosophy has generated a 7-figure income for as long as I've known him. That's awesome. And if you ever get the opportunity to just go out and about with him, it is so fun to watch because he just notices people. Not because he has to be like incredibly extroverted, but because he's developed that. The same as when you see people being able to do something amazing physically, they've developed that, not by doing it all day, every day, but by having those focused periods of time to work on the foundational pieces. So if there's 2 things I want you to get out of today to improve your ability to connect, it's have multiple outcomes to allow for multiple entry points. And some of those, not all those outcomes, most of those outcomes don't need to be income, revenue, or recruiting driven. It's going to make you more comfortable to connect with. And it's going to allow you to be able to recognize when you actually do come across someone who's ready for what you have. But if we're just assuming everybody's ready all the time, it's going to get frustrating. It's going to get difficult. And we're also going to find out if that's the only reason we're talking to people is because we have something to sell them. And if you've realized you're that person, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. Be grateful for the revelation. Be grateful to realize, wow, why it hasn't been working as well as it could is because the only people I've been willing to talk to are the ones I felt confident I could sell something to. Now I'm going to start spending 30 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour a day just trying to strike up conversations with people when I'm out and about, or strike up conversations when I'm out and about on social media, on their stories, on their comments, going to the parts of my friends' list that I don't usually interact with, and just finding reasons to interact with them with no other reason than to interact with them, to connect. And if the conversation dies, if it's, hey, your new dog is adorable, thank you. That's it. You're welcome. Your new dog is adorable. Oh, man, da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, that's someone that probably wants to have more of a conversation. If you send someone a comment, they give you an emoji back, that's the universal sign they don't want to continue the conversation. Or they might not know what to say, but usually a combination of those 2 things. So just let it stop. And then come back and say something another time. And another time. And the more safe people feel, which is a skill, okay, which is an energy you create from building your stamina for pure connection, not agenda-driven connection, you're going to start to recognize the people who are ready for a little bit more of a conversation and a little bit more of a conversation. This allows us to build a foundation of connection. Then you can start looking at some of the strategic questions, some of the kinds of posts and different things that are a little bit more forward, a little bit more obvious. But you want that to be on a foundation of connection, whether it's social media or the people you already know in your inner circle. That's what I hope you take away from today is let conversations die. Okay. You don't need to sit there and keep resuscitating them with obnoxious questions, trying to get everybody you talk to sign up with you. Okay. Because if you really want to do that, if you really want everybody you talk to sign up with you, you're going to want to be really patient to let them figure it out on their own. But to make sure that you're available to connect as a human being with another human being, and to be aware if they don't want to continue the conversation, then don't. It's totally okay. It's going to create a connectivity. It's going to create an attraction to you that will allow you to talk to more people. And when you talk to more people, you can learn to have better conversations with those people. And when you can learn to have better conversations with those people, you can have more conversations with better people. But it's all going to start by just noticing, by just being able to connect with humanity for the sake of being connected with humanity. Again, I'm not telling you to put your sales and your recruiting on halt. I'm just asking you to consider, what are you doing like I do every hour, or what I do every morning for an hour, to make sure that when I go someplace like Lake Powell, that I am in a position to be able to make the most of it, because I've got stamina, I've got ability, I've got a comfort level with that physicality. Where's your comfort level in just connection, not connection to one particular outcome? Because then you're connected to the outcome, not connected to the person. And if you can get connected to the person, you can more honestly, with integrity, partner with them to determine whether any of the outcomes you have available, which is a lot more than just joining your business, you can provide to them that they're ready to receive. And that's when being in business for yourself, being a leader in a major company, that's when it becomes more fulfilling, more rejuvenating, rather than just something you're trying to tolerate and get through to hit a certain rank or to get a certain promotion. That's claiming too many good people. So let's step back. Let's consider our foundational pieces. Let's not put production on halt, but let's make sure that we're working towards having that production produce the energy, the integrity, the connection, the love, and the outcome and incomes that we desire. It is my hope that you will do this. It is my hope that you'll have the patience for this. It's my hope that you will step back and consider how to connect better from where you are. That might be just a couple more people this week. For others of you, it's going to be to be able to step back and talk to just as many as you always have, but improve the foundation of the connection. Stop burning bridges. Stop trying to close. Stop trying to manipulate. Be able to really connect with where another human being is and be able to recognize the difference between someone who's ready for what you have and someone who may have just needed you to notice that they were wearing a really cool shirt, and have plenty of examples of both. Okay? All right. That's enough for today. Thanks for being on the power session today. If any of you are struggling with these foundations for connection, go back and take a habit finder. Go back and look at the habit finder you've already taken. Allow us to be able to explore some of these pieces. If you've participated with us in the past and now you're having greater context to go back and revisit that, let us know. We're here to serve you. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best of success in making an impact on those around you, including yourself. Take care, and we'll see you next time.